Hello, and thank you for joining me today. I am Karen Eberly, and the topic of my online research symposium is Learning Analytics in Higher Education. First, I will be introducing the concept of learning analytics. After that, I will discuss why learning analytics is important to adult educators, the economic and social forces attributed to learning analytics, how learning analytics has affected adult education and learning, the future implications of learning analytics, and how I plan on using learning analytics as an adult educator. In the article, An Overview of Learning Analytics, author Doug Clow cites the most common definition of learning analytics as the measurement, collection, analysis, and reporting of data about learners and their context for purposes of understanding and optimizing learning and environments in which it occurs. Another definition offered by Eifenthaler is that learning analytics use static and dynamic information about learners and learning environments, assessing, eliciting, and analyzing them for real-time modeling, prediction, and optimization of learning processes, learning environments, and educational decision-making. Learning analytics are not to be confused with learning management systems like Canvas, although they are linked. Currently, learning analytics are used as an educational application aimed at learner profiling. It is a process of gathering and analyzing details of individual student interactions in online learning activities. The analysis might cover how long and how often students log into an online discussion page or who students interact with online. More sophisticated learning analytics programs can monitor and give feedback on quality of work and progress towards meeting course objectives. According to Clow, learning analytics is the application of big data techniques to improve learning. Blackboard, Desire2Learn, Instructure, Moodle, and Tribal have all released analytics tools. The high-profile providers of massively open online courses, or MOOCs, also using analytics tools to inform their practice include Coursera, Udacity, and edX. The background shows a list provided by author Jacqueline Reyes in her article, The Skinny on Big Data in Education, Learning Analytics Simplified. So why are learning analytics important to adult educators? In the next slides, I will outline 4 different ways learning analytics impacts adult education, including the fact that it's a newer trend in higher education. They inform teaching and learning. Learning analytics helps students take control of their learning, and they promote student reflection and feedback. Learning analytics provides big data, which is the reason why it's a newer trend in higher education. Clow points out that the growing field of business intelligence is concerned with the management of and processing of data to support corporate practice, including performance metrics. The framing of education as an economic activity supports the view of educational institutions as businesses. Reyes agrees, saying that with learning analytics, stakeholders will have easy, visualized access to massive amounts of digital data left behind from learners about experiences in various online systems, in the same way that business intelligence markets and analyzes consumer data today. Another reason why learning analytics is important for adult educators is that big data can be used to inform teaching and learning. Eifenthaler points out that learning analytics provides instructors detailed analysis and monitoring on the individual student level, allowing them to identify particularly unstable factors like motivation or attention loss before they even occur. Instructional designers use learning analytics information to evaluate learning materials, adjust difficulty levels, and to measure the impact of interventions. Moreover, learning analytics facilitate decision-making at the instructional level and help to analyze student attrition and identify gaps in curricular planning. Big data can also help students take control over their own learning. More sophisticated learning analytics systems help put learners in control. They can select their own goals and ambitions and choose which learning analytics they want to review in order to achieve those goals. They can decide how to manage their goals and objectives outlined by their professor. According to Clow, students typically care more about their own learning situation than even the most dedicated teacher. In some disciplines, many students are quite capable of making intelligent use of the data about their own learning. Using learning analytics, they can be encouraged to take personal responsibility for their own situation, making use of the feedback available to make appropriate decisions. The last reason why learning analytics is important to adult educators is closely related to the heightened student control. The feedback provided from learning analytics has the potential to elicit student reflection on their progress towards meeting standards and objectives for their focus of study. When discussing the economic and social factors that are attributed to learning analytics, I immediately thought of the ethical issues that can occur at the institution level and the ethical issues with the actual analytics programs. The ethical dilemma at this level relates to institutional power. There is a power relationship between the university and the students as learners. When students are asked to provide data, they are obliged to do so or risk having their enrollment canceled by not satisfying the enrollment requirements. If universities ask for the information, a student will feel that they have no choice but to comply. There is also no way to know how the data is being used by the institution. Obviously, the stated intent is to inform instruction. However, these days, data is money, and institutions have the opportunity to profit from information provided by the analytics tools. A 2016 Open University Innovation Report stated that most current learning analytics applications cannot distinguish between behavior and cognition, and they do not take into account the underlying attitudes of students. For example, an economics student who has previously been successful but is now experiencing a lot of anxiety for reasons unrelated to the course may find it difficult to receive accurate feedback. During a student's time of study within an institution, their identities are in a continuous state of flux as they navigate the higher education landscape. It is important that students be allowed to make mistakes and learn from their past experiences without tarnishing their student profile. On page 219 of our text, andragogy is described as the process of learning on a continuum from teacher-directed learning to self-directed learning. My vision for learning analytics is that it aids in the process of freeing students from the dependency on educators and supports their self-directed process of learning. When considering the future implications of learning analytics, I'm drawn to the quote on page 318 of Ross, Gordon, Rose, and Casworm. Both the broader society and specifically adult and continuing education have found that they rarely can anticipate the direction of growth and impact of technological mechanisms on adult learning. Often we have limited capability to control and direct technological change. I think that learning analytics is such a new field that no one can quite predict where it is headed or what it So, how do I see myself using learning analytics tools in my future as an adult learner? My vision for a learning analytics tool is for students to be able to utilize an interface to set their own academic goals and reflect on their progress that justifies how much they know and have learned on a topic of study. Ideally, feedback would come through the data and experience the student has using the tool rather than the course instructor. Students would have more ownership of their learning and would be able to use the analytics tool to know how well they are accomplishing their goals. This would mean that teachers would act more like coaches rather than instructors. I don't believe that currently a student led learning analytics tool exists to this level. and I believe that a future career option of mine is to develop such a tool. Thank you for watching my presentation today. I hope you learned a little bit about learning analytics, and I hope I piqued your interest to continue to look into this field. Attached to my presentation, you will also see the list of references if you are interested in reading some of the articles on your own time. Thanks again.